Page 4, The Lively Boy. 2/4 time, no sharps or flats. You think, is it C major or A minor? Well, let's take a look. Here's C major, here's A minor. So what do we got? Look at the last measure we have here. Sounds like C major to me, so we'll go with that, C major. Right hand first. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. Second finger on the E. Now you have a rest, and in the second line they want the fifth finger on the G, so you got to come down one. During the rest, you simply come down one key. Now when you're first learning to do this, you got to look at the keyboard to make sure you get your hand in the right spot. But you want to eventually develop a feel for the keyboard and be able to go up or down a key without looking, and you'll just know from the feel of it that it's happened that way. So in the second line we're here. So it's here. That's the right hand. Left hand, down here in bass clef, you're way down here to start. We'll see what happens. So but you're here. Hold that out for a full count. It comes up on beat 2. I'll come back to that in a minute. And then again, and then the third measure, 1 and 2 and. Reach down, feel this octave. This is an octave, G to G, or A to A, or B to B, or C to C. That's an octave. It's important you develop a feel for that distance. So here, you reach down. Sometimes you'll collapse the hand, and sometimes you don't. You look at what's next. Here, the next note after the G is a B, way up here. Good luck with that. You gotta go from here to here, and they want second finger. I disagree with that. I would suggest, because you're having to move that, we don't want to move the hand any further than we have to. The further we have to move it, the more time it takes to get there, and the more chance you have of getting it wrong. You know. So I'm going to recommend, rather than second finger on that first B, that you use thumb on that. Just reach up. Depending on how big your hand is, you can reach with the thumb a lot further than with second finger. If you just check your hand out, how far can you reach with thumb versus, so when you reach up with, you just came from here, so if you reach out a little more, try to, you don't have as far to move, is what I'm saying. It's a better chance of getting there than second finger. Thumb on that one. And then second finger on the next B, because you got 2 B's in a row. So you're really moving twice here. You're moving here, and then again here. But this move should not be a problem, because you can collapse after you get this one. You can collapse. You got to rest. And then you're positioned for the next measure, and then reach down another octave there at the end for C. And you can collapse it then, because you're done. Now put both hands together and see what happens. That's usually interesting. Starting out here, right there. When I play that first G in the right hand, that's the second beat. The left hand has to come up because the first beat's over. So it's right there. When I play that G, the right hand has to come up because the first beat's over. Then here, during this rest, when you play this, is when you move the right hand down. And that way, when it comes time for the playing this next note, you can focus on the left hand because the right hand's in position. So the last measure of the first line is here, move down, and then here. Make sure you observe the rest. I call it play the rest. That is, be quiet. Then once you got the notes and the fingerings worked out, slowly, you don't have to build this up with speed yet. Let's keep this slow and under control. Then you can add maybe the articulation They're staccatos. They've got written, I mean, just the way it's written is this way. I use a finger staccato here. It's a nice, easy, if you want to use the wrist thing, you go right ahead. Or do what your teacher tells you to do. You can add the dynamics. Well, the first line is mezzo forte, MF, moderately loud, sort of loud, loud. The second line is moderately soft, MP, mezzo piano. There's not a lot of difference between moderately loud and moderately soft. It's just moderately. That's the right hand. Keep the left hand soft here. You decide what moderately loud is and what moderately soft is. And once you do that, you make the left hand softer than that, because the melody dictates what goes on. So here. And then you have a crescendo, and the next to the last measure, second line, you're going to go up to loud. This is louder than you started, so you're going to go from sort of soft to loud. Don't get loud too soon. Don't get loud until the last measure. That's where you're headed. I always look to see where you're headed when you get soft or loud, when you're changing, and down to here. And it ends. The left hand is going to stay at, I mean, the left hand can get louder, but not as loud as, so it goes up to about a mezzo forte, the medium one, and stay there for the last note is still mezzo. So this is loud, this is not. This is sort of loud. You can speed this up a bit, because you keep it slow when you're learning it. It says allegretto. Allegretto is between moderato and allegro. To me, allegretto is a fun speed. It's just when it gets fun. So you think about it being fun. And it's not necessarily the beat, it's what's in the piece. So what does it feel? Kind of a fun thing? Is that too fast? Is that more like allegro? Is that where we're? Is that where you? It's going to be different for different people. You can follow their metronome suggestions if you want to give you an idea. That's fine. But it's ultimately up to you and your interpretive powers to decide what this is, because everything we've done so far is mechanical. No music to it, it's just mechanical. You can have a computer do it. But we want to take it one step further and try and interpret it a little bit and go beyond the mechanical and make music out of it. Give it some feel. And that's where the magic truly happens. That's unfortunately what a lot of students miss. They get the mechanics right, they can play it correctly mechanically, and that's it, they're done, they're ready to go on. And they're missing out on the beauty of what it really means, and that is interpretation, feeling the music. What does this feel to you? Is it a lively boy? Is it a fun thing? Can we make it livelier? Can we do anything? Well, there's different ways of interpreting things. For instance, we have staccatos in the first two measures. Well, in that third measure, there's nothing written. There's no staccato, no tenuto, no slur, no nothing. They're just notes. That leaves it up to us on how we want to interpret that measure. It's our, and if we want, we can continue those staccatos all the way through. It's an interpretive thing. There nothing says we can't do that. It's up, you know, if the composer or arranger or whoever put this together wanted this to be slurred, they would put a slur over it. If they wanted it to be staccato, they would put staccatos over it. When they leave it empty, it's up to you and your interpretive powers to play it as you see fit. One time you might play them legato. Another time you play them staccato. Maybe you play them long staccatos. Just separate the notes. There's a difference between different ways of interpreting it, and the second line, third measure is the same thing, and you don't have to interpret them the same. It's up to you. And so I leave that up to you and your interpreting powers. When we do the play with me, I'm going to play it as written. I'm not interpreting anything. And we're going to go really slow, and I'm not doing dynamics. I'm just doing the notes and the rhythms. That's all I'm after. You can do the rest of that on your own. So put your hands in these positions. I'll give us 2 counts. Let's play this together slowly. Ready and go. And 1.